further ado, I'm going to introduce Hayley, our guest for today. Hayley, as we've said, is a marketing specialist. We're going to talk about trends in organic marketing, trends in paid marketing, biggest marketing misconceptions. So just a bit of background on Hayley. She's a visionary entrepreneur and marketing strategist dedicated to helping businesses thrive through bold strategy, consistency, and genuine partnership. Hayley founded the Business Women's Entrepreneur Network in the US to empower women-owned ventures, and her initiative In2uitive Business Solutions offers a comprehensive whole enchilada approach covering everything from SEO and funnels to social media and CRM. Hayley is guided by her belief that responsiveness and reliability shouldn't be exceptions but the standard. She's passionate about delivering real-time ROI and long-term growth to each client she serves. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Hayley to talk about marketing for your law firm. Thank you, Hayley.
Thank you, Karen. I am so excited to be here with y'all today. And we're going to be talking about marketing, and hopefully some of this will make sense. Karen will maybe get a giggle. My operating system is making things make sense. If I speak in geekies, please let me know if I have gone off into the deep end with the geek. And feel free to ask me questions along the way. I will try to elaborate and explain as I go, and hopefully provide some valuable information and maybe some insights for you on where we are with marketing and the state of marketing in 2025, because it is a very rapidly changing environment. So without ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We're going to be talking about marketing for law firms in 2025. And one of the things I want to be super clear about is that what worked few months ago or a year ago is definitely not what is working now. If you thought it, things that you've always done and you're keeping doing them and they're suddenly not working, you're probably right. And I love this quote from Henry Ford: stopping advertising to save money is like stopping your watch to save time. The reality for most businesses, whether you're a law firm, a startup, you name it, most businesses do not factor enough time, effort, or energy into their marketing efforts. And I can say that having judged hundreds of startup challenges and hundreds of startup options through DukeGen startup challenges, and it is absolutely entertaining to watch. I want to really make clear that what worked 2 years ago in marketing is not working now. And things that were working even 6 months ago have changed dramatically. With the advent of AI, things have changed a ton. So we're going to talk a lot about organic and paid media. And we're also going to talk about a lot of the biggest marketing misconceptions and some of the biggest whoppers that are told to attorneys and law firms and business owners. I can tell you that I'm actually in the process of working on a website for a law firm, and they were quoted $50,000 USD to redo what is not a terribly large website with no real copy updates, no SEO updates, no nothing, because they're currently in a completely hard-coded, custom-coded website option. So that's definitely a no-no for me. So let's talk about Google. And Karen will probably laugh when she sees this. Google is either your friend or very much not your friend these days in marketing. I talk to Karen on a regular basis about Google and Google My Business. And there are things that we have been working on. And I think that she is always shocked when she calls me and she's like, hey, we're dealing with this issue. And I'm like, yeah, so we're 4 other people I know. And then I reach out to somebody I know who is a Google My Business specialist, and she's getting 20 or 30 or 40 calls a week. And it is just insane what is going on with Google right now. The changes are astronomical. And it is very interesting to see websites shooting to the top of Google or dropping off the radar entirely. And there is almost nothing in between. There is no status quo. So Google My Business is one of the first places you need to start with your marketing for your law firm. And I will stand by this. If you have a Google My Business listing and you can collect reviews on all of the main law firm sites and Google My Business and build out a Google My Business profile and have some sort of brochure for pricing and answer a phone call. When people call you, you can pretty much set up business. Whether you're a law firm or a plumber or a painter, it doesn't matter. Google My Business is one of the big linchpins these days in marketing. So making sure that your Google My Business is up to date is super important. And one of the things that is worth noting about marketing and about every single one of these platforms right now is that just as soon as you think you have figured out Google My Business or Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever your platform is, I can guarantee you that they're going to pull the rug out from underneath you. They're going to change things. You're going to go on to Google My Business or you're going to go onto Facebook or whatever and look at it and go, where did all my pictures go? What happened to half of my reviews? You name it, things change. They like to pull the rug out from underneath you. Google My Business is an ongoing process. It is not one and done. A lot of people think that if they set up their Google My Business, they are good, they're set. They don't need to worry about it anymore. But in fact, Google My Business, getting reviews on Google My Business is probably one of the most important things that you can do for your business for SEO, which is search engine optimization, or getting found on Google. Google My Business is, in many cases for businesses, the keystone for your marketing, not your website, not a fancy logo, not any of this other stuff. Google My Business, believe it or not. This is how people find you. And if you have reviews on Google My Business, it makes every bit of difference to you. So the next thing that we really want to talk about is Google Local Services. In many markets, there is a thing called Google Local Services. And law firms here in the United States that take advantage of Google Local Services ads, electricians, plumbers, law firms, anything that requires licensing and a certificate. Unfortunately, believe it or not, marketers don't qualify because we don't have the same licensing. Google Local Services ads can be a game changer when combined with your Google My Business. Now, this is a pay to play environment. But one of the cool things about Google Local Services is once you've given them your proof of insurance, your licensing information, your degrees, a note from your doctor, your firstborn child, your blood type, and written them into your will, they will give you leads. And many times they are less expensive and sometimes they are better quality than we see from other sources. The other thing that is really cool about Google Local Services ads is that you can actually tell them that a lead was no good and throw it back, and they will credit you for that lead. There is no other instance of paid advertising where you can throw a lead back and say, that one wasn't any good, give me another one. You actually get a credit on the next month's statement. And it also helps you show up in certain listings, and you can mark whether the lead was any good, whether it was in your territory, whether it was outside your area, which if you've ever done Google ads, you're going to know that Google likes to send you people and show your ads to people that are outside of the target area that you have allocated those ads to, no matter how hard you try to fence in the area that you're serving ads to. Websites right now are now and have always been a huge moving target. Do you blog? Do you not blog? Do you create city pages? Do you not create city pages? Unfortunately, for most of us, yes.
We have a comment from Spiros.
Yeah.
Not sure whether Google Local Services is available in Australia.
I am not 100% certain. I have dozens of clients here in the US that are on it. It is worth looking and seeing if they will offer it to you in Australia.
I think So I think it's not available in Australia yet. It's getting rolled out soon.
Yeah, as soon as you see it roll out, one of the cool things with Google is that if you can jump on something like that as soon as it's rolled out in your market, it's easier to get the licensing requirements through. And a lot of times they'll give you leads for cheaper than they might otherwise too, because you're kind of almost like in that early adopter program. So they'll give it to you a little bit sooner. Highly recommend it. Once you can get it, do it. I see a lot of businesses here, not just lawyers, but other types of businesses as well, generating pretty decent leads and generating volume of leads. And the ROI on those leads is substantial. You're at, 10 to 20 return on your ad spend ROAS for most of those types of leads. So the numbers hold up beautifully for the Google local services, if that helps. It's one of those super affordable and the numbers are great. Let's talk about websites for a minute. Websites, the technology behind websites and how people are doing websites is changing a ton right now. Your search engine optimization is almost always best on a WordPress site, although that is not 100% always the case, because it obviously depends on who did the website, how they did the website, how your site structure is done. There's a million things that go into the website. One of the realities with websites right now is that as Google is rolling out AI and as Google is getting smarter and smarter, the things that people used to do in order to beat the algorithm with some of the backlinking strategies, some of the kind of like crappy content strategies, those types of things no longer work. You can't stuff keywords onto pages. You cannot do a lot of things that you could have gotten away with before because Google is going to penalize you and put you in the penalty box. However, most of us need a website, if not necessarily always for lead generation or as a part of a sales funnel, although that's ideal, but because when you meet somebody out in public or somebody goes searching for you, one of the things that they do tend to want to see is at least a minimally viable website. A well done website is going to, in general, pay for itself many times over. And, it's kind of interesting. I believe that a well done website is going to pay for itself many times over, but don't fall into the trap of thinking that more expensive is necessarily better. I see way too many cases, and I've seen way too many cases of people basically being taken for a ride on super expensive websites and branding initiatives that you're never really going to see that return on your dollars back. So it's important to understand that there is such a thing as too cheap. Going for crazy expensive is not necessarily going to yield more money in your pocket. In fact, I'm dealing with a private boarding school right now that spent over $300,000 USD on their last website. And if that number doesn't kind of make you cringe, I'm amazed. And it was 3 years ago, and it was a completely custom WordPress theme, which is basically not editable. And we can't add pages to the site, and we can't easily add copy, and we can't add content. So you're trying to do all these updates to the website and you can't. Websites are a moving target. They're constantly evolving and changing if you're trying to stay up with SEO. And now we can't update and change the website. So it is with great pleasure I'm getting to take dynamite to that website because it has driven me up a wall trying to just update it. And the board of trustees has given me their blessing to have at it. It is my son's boarding school. So as a parent who has been very frustrated with that website for the last 3 years, I'm definitely taking some rage out on that website. But, you only live once. So let's talk about social media. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Social media sucks. There's a lot of really crazy people on social media. I mean, I'll be honest, you run into absolute crazies on social media. But if you're trying to build search engine optimization, if you're trying to get found on Google, one of the things that people do when they're looking up your business, they're looking up your law firm, is they go and they see what you've been doing. They Google you and you start showing up. Your social media is one of those places that you start showing up. It is your opportunity to showcase absolutely every single thing that you do in your business. It is also a cool and highly underutilized and underrated search engine optimization tool. One of the really cool platforms that nobody talks about enough, and Karen knows where I'm going with this one, is Pinterest. Okay, so we all do Facebook. I have, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of followers on Facebook, across my Facebook group and my pages and this and that and the other. But I get millions of views a month on my Pinterest account, and it drives a ton of traffic to my website. It's organic. I don't pay for it. But because every time I post a blog post to my website, it goes out via an RSS feed, and I plop it onto Pinterest via magic in a social media poster, I don't have to do any extra work. And what's really cool is that the more blog posts I put out there, the more pins that it generates on Pinterest. And if it's across, and I post it across a ton of different boards, it gets seen by more and more people. It generates backlinks to my website. Those of you that know anything about search engine optimization know that backlinks are important. Pinterest is essentially one great big visual search engine. People go on there looking for particular information, and if your descriptions and your information is on there, they're going to find you. And if the title of your blog post matches what they're looking for, they're going to go hunt on your website, and then they're going to come and they're going to stay. I don't know about you, but I really love me some free marketing. Pinterest is one of those amazing things. And if you are willing to use blog posts, and hint, hint, you can use ChatGPT to help speed up the creation of blog posts, you can really, really help your SEO and get a lot of amazing, amazing, amazing organic reach that way. Search engine optimization is changing dramatically. I cannot tell you just how much it's changing. With Google using AI, with all of the changes that are happening and rolling out on Google, the website with the best content wins. This becomes a content heavy game. However, Google does not yet have the intelligence to recognize pictures or videos in terms of understanding the nature of the content. But you can play some games with Google, not in a bad way, but you kind of give it what it wants. So you post something on YouTube and you post a really good description using all of your keywords and a link back to your website, and you get a backlink from a domain authority 98 website. Because YouTube is owned by Google, it has a domain authority of 98. That's pretty cool. And it has and if your description of your podcast or your video has a link in it and it has your keywords in it, it all goes together. If you're posting your keywords and your descriptions on social media and they have everything that you're trying to get found for Google on in them, same thing, right? So you're playing games with SEO, but you're signaling to Google and saying, hey, Google, these are my keywords. Now, I want to caution you on one thing here. I edited a website about 2 years ago for a local accountant here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Well, I'm not in Raleigh, I'm close to it though. She lives about 30 minutes from me. She had me go look at her website and couldn't understand why it wasn't converting. She had hired somebody in India because she's Indian. We have a very large Southeast Asian population here. And she had hired somebody in India because it was cheaper and they said they would do a good job and they did a great job. And what had happened was that they had gone onto all of her social media and all of her YouTube and all of her website, and they had done a lot of keyword stuffing. Keyword stuffing is when you see very unnatural language patterns, and you're basically playing the game of how many keywords can I string in a row. One of the ways that SEO is changing dramatically is you cannot keyword stuff, and you really only want to try to rank for one keyword per page. One keyword per social media post, one keyword per video. Give them a little bit of room and breathing room. Don't try to stuff them all into a single bag at the same time. Give them some space. That's one of the biggest changes that I have seen in SEO is you can't cram 12 keywords onto a page and hope to rank for any of them anymore. What it does mean is that many of my clients have websites that are behemoth. It is not unusual to see hundreds to thousands of blogs. It is not unusual to see hundreds of pages and a page building strategy and a content building strategy for every single client. That it could include daily posting, or it could include a new page a day for some of our clients. Yes, Virus.
Is this why you see with a lot of, like I've seen a lot of American sites, especially in personal injury, where they'll have different web pages for every single specific circumstance, like bicycle being hit by a car, wheelchair being hit by a car, pedestrian being hit by a car. And they have like multiple pages for different things.
Yep. It's an N by N search. So I'll give you an example. I have a flooring company that I do SEO for. And this is actually not the worst case. The worst one I have is one that does a range of services, but they serve a 50-mile radius around Raleigh. And we have pages built for every single town in a 50-mile radius, in every single suburb. There's 50 or 60 of those. And the next thing that we do after we complete their SEO for all 50 or 60 of those pages, plus their main pages, plus all of their featured projects, plus weekly blogs, is that we're actually adding about 300 more pages to their website, because we have to add hardwood flooring in Wake Forest, laminate flooring in Wake Forest, carpeting in Wake Forest, vinyl flooring in Wake Forest, hardwood refinishing in Wake Forest. And we don't add them to like the menu on the site, but we do submit each of those tertiary pages to Google so that they can get found. And one of the things that I've actually found kind of entertaining with that particular client is that algorithm of blogs plus featured projects plus pages plus paid media is actually burying their competition, who are spending probably 10 times as much on ads, but we're actually generating leads at sub $10 a lead, and just kind of outwitting and outmanning the other marketing agencies at their own game. So yes, to your point, yes, we are doing that very much. I will say that websites, I've got that attorney that got quoted $50K on their website. They don't have any local pages, and they don't have any specific copy to different cities or counties that they serve. And one of my recommendations to them was that they add information by county. And I actually have another lawyer here in Raleigh that does traffic tickets and driving under the influence and those types of things. And he is a solo practitioner. He came to me with about 50 pages on his website because he's doing all of these different types of traffic tickets. And the website was built in 2014. And this is almost that obnoxious approach that we're taking, where we are now adding all of the towns and cities and all of those as well to his website. So we've taken 50 or 60, increased the amount of copy on 50 or 60 pages, and then adding another 50 or 60 on top of that. It yields truly gargantuan websites. And each page typically has, 800 to 1,000 words per page. This is an excellent use of ChatGPT, because it would be unbelievably expensive to write this amount of copy without using AI. Fortunately, we can train AI, we can use it to do resources, and then we can fact check it along the way as we go. So let's talk lead generation. My daughter is laughing at my cat, who is sitting in a basket on my desk, but we want to talk about lead generation. So one of the things is, when you're doing lead generation, if you do not have Google Analytics installed, and you do not have Google Search Console and a Google tag installed on your website, you need to do all of that. The other thing that is necessary with doing paid lead generation, absolutely necessary, is implementing a solid CRM system, customer relationship management system. I almost don't care what you use, but it needs to be integrated with your website, and there needs to be some sort of automations involved. Here's the thing. I'll pick on my flooring client for a second. And this happens to everybody. If you're running ads 24/7, you get leads in after you have gone home for the day. In today's market, most consumers are used to getting a response instantaneously to whatever the heck it is that they're calling you about. Whether they're calling you or filling out a form, they want a response and they want it now. The technology has proceeded to a point where we are able to instantaneously respond and text back and say, hey, we got your lead. The office is currently closed. Here's this. The other thing that we can also do is say, hey, the office is currently closed, but we would love to book an appointment with you. Here is a calendar with some dates and times. Are you interested in booking some times? And then setting up automations and doing those types of things. It can save dozens of hours a month as far as booking appointments goes. I am a huge believer in Wisal Legal. I'm a huge believer in using a solid CRM system and building in all of these potential automation pieces into your business. You need to be able to track things and know where things are at, the touch of a button, and be well aware of where things are, because customers expect instant responses. And one of the things that I have seen in the last 6 months is I've had lawyers in other states. I was working on a lease deal, and the communications were not tracked. There wasn't like a huge train of information on the communication back and forth. And this is obviously where Wisal comes in, but there also wasn't that ability to pay online. Hey, I want to pay you. I've got a credit card. It looks like the US Postal Service ate my check again, and I don't really want to write you yet another paper check. So having the technology in place for end-to-end user management from the time that they contact you to the time that they offboard at the end and you send them a request for a Google review is important. In a day and age where people are judging your firm based on how many Google reviews you have and how good they are and what they left you, you need this automation in place or you are going to run your expenses through the roof. And ain't nobody got time for that, because we'd all rather be doing other things with our money. So lead generation isn't just about doing Google and Facebook ads or whatever. It's about having the right automation in place. The other thing I want to talk to you about lead generation is this: don't rely on a single platform. We all saw what happened with TikTok in the United States this week, or at least I'm hoping y'all did. They took TikTok down Saturday afternoon and it was back up on Sunday morning by orders of our new president. That could have gone any of a lot of different ways. I have seen people lose their Facebook ad account. I have seen people lose their Google ad account. I have been dealing with a Facebook ad issue all week where the bank flagged Meta from doing ads, and we couldn't pay for ads in order to run and do lead generation. Had the client not had 6 or 8 other forms of lead generation going on in their business, they probably would have been freaking out. As it was a pretty minor annoyance, and we were able to roll over and do other things. But don't ever rely on a single form of paid ads. I see too many people that rely just on Facebook ads or just on Google ads, and that's fine to get started, but don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Don't put all of your social media in one basket. Let's talk about misconceptions and a lot of outright lies in the marketing world. So one of the biggest misconceptions I see is that you have to pay through the nose in order to get a decent website that's going to rank for anything. I think I touched on this earlier. That is not really the case. You do need to pay a good wage and a good amount for what you do, but it doesn't mean that the highest and the most expensive is necessarily better. One of the things I have run into is that more expensive is definitely not always better in terms of lawyers. It is not always better in terms of marketers. You really need to figure out if somebody is going to be a match for your needs. Lies. I cannot guarantee you to get to the first page of Google, ever. Anybody that promises you the first page of Google is lying through their teeth. And Google may allow you to be on the first page for a blink of an eye and a blink of an instant, and then they likely will take you right back off the first page of Google. So don't rely on any single type of marketing. Don't rely on a single platform. Anybody that tells you that you can do absolutely everything on Facebook is short-sighted. Yes, you can do lead generation on Facebook. Yes, you can do lead generation on Google, but you probably need to be doing both. The other thing that I see a lot of is, over-promising and under-delivering. It is really hard to generate leads without spending quite a bit of money. I would personally not get into paid lead generation in my business until I could afford 3 to 6 months worth of ad spend and ads management fees before seeing a return on the investment, or I would teach myself how to do it. A lot of people jump in thinking that they can get a super quick return on their ad spend, and it can be a very long, slow, and painful slog, and it can be prohibitively expensive. People think that $5 a day is going to do it. I have had cases, and Karen saw me do it last week, where I have generated $970 off the first $8 in ad spend. And it was also the case that we did a ton of prep up front. We had done a ton of organic stuff up front. We did a ton of email marketing. We tested our market in multiple Facebook groups. And by the time we actually did the launch on Facebook ads, we had already tested that particular graphic and that particular message multiple times with multiple audiences to make sure it was going to work. So it really was not a surprise to me that we made that sale, because we had already tested it so thoroughly and we happened to get lucky. But I will tell you that the other $400 that we spent in advertising that event only made us an extra like $4,000 or $5,000. So at the end of the day, the numbers did hold true. So don't believe people when they tell you that they can generate leads super cheap or anything like that, because that is typically not how it works. It can be super expensive, but don't keep doing it for forever. So your next steps are one-to-one with me, and I will be happy to do a SWOT analysis with you and look at your marketing and your business and see how I can just be a resource. And this is not a sales call kind of a thing. I'm more likely to turn you down than to take you on as a client, honestly, because I always want to make sure that we're doing the right thing for you and that we are actually a good match. But if you would like to do a SWOT analysis, and if you'd like to get, a fairly unbiased third-party opinion, let's chat. I'd be happy to chat. And I also want to say thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to help with your business. I hope that this information was useful. And with that, I'm going to stop my share, and I am going to open up for any and all questions you have. Feel free to ask me anything you want to know about marketing. Nothing is off the table.
Thank you so much, Hayley. That's very informative.
You're welcome.
So, questions. Who's got questions for Hayley?
I've either wowed them or baffled them with my bullshit. I'm not sure which.
What's the average cost per month? Like, I had one US company kind of for website design and SEO management was like 5,000 USD a month.
So I do have packages that are 5,000 USD a month, but that includes ad management up to 10,000 USD a month and email marketing and all the other things. So if I am just doing a basic SEO hosting package, that is 800 a month. Where I get really expensive, honestly, is the labor involved in doing ads management. But your basic, like, blogging and posting starts in the 800 range. It should not be that expensive for just SEO and website maintenance. That's just insane to me. But I live in Karen probably hears me say this more than most, daily, where I'm just like, holy crap, that was just insane. I feel like some of the pricing in this industry bears very little resemblance or relevance to like the actual labor costs. And I'm not against making a good profit. I'm absolutely all in favor of that, but it has to be profitable for everyone. And I just don't see that for SEO and website maintenance. And the other thing too is to understand very clearly and ask what the return on investment of something is going to be. I cannot ever guarantee you that you're going to see a huge return on investment on just social media posting and on doing SEO on a website. Is it a good idea? Yes. Should you be doing it in addition to doing paid ads? Absolutely, because it'll make your paid ads cheaper. Can I guarantee you a result? No. Will I keep doing it? Absolutely, because I see the difference in the cost per lead.
One of the frustrating things I see, and I've said for years, is that marketing is a black art. Am I right, wrong, or indifferent there, Hayley?
You're absolutely correct. It is a dark art. And just as soon as we think we figured something out, Meta or Google or whatever pulls the rug out from underneath us. What worked yesterday will not work tomorrow. I get a lot of people that ask me how I got 78,000 people into my Facebook group organically. I did it over a period of 9 years. I started in 2015, so I'm almost at 10 years. Do you really want to know how I did that? Or should we just agree that perhaps it was a lot of work and you probably don't want to do that much work in your business? And there might be easier ways to market your business. Yeah, no, with the strategies I've discussed, would those mostly apply to individual clients or agency clients as well? Both. I do ads for both. So, one lawyer on up. The trick is going to be looking at the return on the ad spend and then what makes sense. I've got the traffic ticket guy. Honestly, we will probably just do website maintenance for him going forward, maybe a little bit of SEO, but he does so much lead generation organically that he doesn't need like a million other lead sources coming in because he's got so much word of mouth referral because he does a pretty solid job. He's pretty well known in this area. An agency or a larger law firm that has, a dozen lawyers and their clients are spending through the roof, like it's a family law type practice, they're probably going to have to do more with the paid and the SEO and all those things. I mean, the ongoing SEO is a beast and can be a beast, but sometimes I think like people overcharge and underdeliver on the SEO piece and overpromise it. Shouldn't be spending thousands of dollars a month on SEO. I had somebody ask me yesterday to quote them on doing a ton of SEO for a sign company. And I was like, what strategy are we executing? Can I see the strategy first before I quote you on what we're doing? Because usually my SEO strategy right now is around content creation and blogging and posting. You're welcome. Yeah. And one thing I want to caution right now, Google is kind of penalizing people if you are building backlinks from sites that are not maybe relevant to your industry. So there has been a trend in Google for a while. I have a leadershipgirl.com website. I've seen a lot of this and it's monetized and I get paid per click and all that fun stuff on it. But people want to submit their kind of crappy blogs to my blog. And I mean, for a while, I've kind of been like, okay, whatever. And they insert a link into it that goes off to some random site. And as long as it's not like a crazy site, I haven't minded it too much. But what I'm seeing right now is people that have done that have really hurt their SEO. Flooring company here, they had links built back to it for like HVAC. I'm like, y'all aren't an air conditioning company or a plumbing company. Why are there plumbing and air conditioning pages on your site? There's no reason for that. Yeah, and Karen snorts, right? I mean, there's no good reasons. How do you get good backlinks? So good backlinks are LinkedIn, Pinterest, your social media, high quality. I honestly would not spend a lot of time trying to build backlinks at this point because Google's gotten very suspicious of them. Using Google My Business, using your social media to link back to your own stuff is a good way to do it. Beyond that, not so much. I mean, if you're on a podcast or you're doing some PR or your YouTube, not so bad. Those are good. Doing kind of crazy things to get backlinks, absolutely not. But if you're in a law journal, okay, sure. If you're a regular contributor, I have one client that's a regular contributor to Newsmax, and she uses that to create backlinks to her sites. So use what you have, but don't go going crazy on building backlinks because Google does not like it and is actively penalizing businesses for doing that.
Okay. Any other questions?
Relevant, high quality backlinks only. Yes, irrelevant backlinks are no bueno. They will count against you. And make sure you book that time with me. I'm happy to chat. If you don't find anything on my calendar that works, email me and I'll give you some times that are a little bit more amenable to your calendar, to your timelines, because I know that not everybody's an early bird like Karen. True story. We were texting at each other yesterday at what must have been her end of day and like 2:00 in the morning, my time. So our days frequently come close to overlapping.
Okay. Thank you, Hayley. And we've got no other questions.
Thank you.
we'll wrap up. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming.
If you've got topics you'd like us to host, please do let us know. We're happy to explore anything that's of interest to you.